If you start this video at 11:02 p.m. at midnight, you'll hear my number 4 ranked movie.
We're going to have to start from the beginning.
Why?
My mic was facing the other way.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's a good cold opening, right?
What?
Me saying that.
Oh, now we're starting now?
Yeah, they're never going to hear, what were some of the bits we did? We talked about Obama.
Yeah, Obama's list.
Yeah, that people think that he wasn't actually watching those movies.
Terrible year for movies.
Terrible year for movies. I thought it was a good year for movies. Yeah.
Good year for movies.
Good year.
Nothing blew my dick off.
Nothing blew your dick off.
Not dickless.
Just recapping everything.
Yeah, that was a good bit. I think people would have chuckled at that.
I like that because we did go a little long for the cold open. Now it's just condensed.
Yeah.
It's a short film. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Soup. I am Beau Oliver, joined here today with Aaron, the Nerd Soup Monkey, and we are back to recap some of our favorite movies of the year, doing a nice little laid-back video where we're going to talk about our top 20s. So we'll do our individual lists, and we'll have some nice discussions here. And, of course, you guys can comment down below what were some of your favorite movies of the year. We have a very knowledgeable audience when it comes to films, so I'm excited to hear about that. Maybe we'll, learn about some movies that flew under the radar that we can eventually add to our lists, because I said in the cold opening that was cut that my list remains fluid. There's some movies that I didn't see, some international movies that I still need to watch, so my list is public on Letterboxd, so you guys can all see how it will change in the future. And thank you guys for listening. Happy New Year's out there, everybody, to those who celebrate. And, it was another good year of producing content, and like I said, thank you guys for listening for another year. Excited about 2023. We've got a packed schedule for January already, and I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. I have 2 documentaries on my list. That's weird.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
In your top 20?
Yeah.
Damn.
Is that allowed?
Yeah, that's allowed.
Okay.
I almost had a documentary make my top 20, but
I'm just more sophisticated and, I don't know. It's just that we're built different. I can appreciate the educational aspect of film, where you're just in it for the explosions and CGI.
Yeah.
That's why you have Avatar #1.
Well, not necessarily.
Okay.
Genius and Fire of Love?
Not Genius, no.
Okay.
Fire of Love's up there.
The Redeem Team documentary?
No. I'll talk about it.
All right, you want to start?
Should I just do the whole list?
No, we'll go 5 for 5.
Oh, okay.
So I was thinking we start with 20, go to 15, and then we'll go back and forth.
It's actually 6.
Huh?
20 to 15 is 6.
Right, 20 to 16.
Mm-hmm.
I was never that good at math.
All right, yeah. 20, I have The Woman King. 19, Cha-Cha Real Smooth. 18, Godland. 17, The Cow That Sang a Song into the Future. And 16, All Quiet on the Western Front. I think from that list, probably The Woman King and All Quiet on the Western Front, probably the more popular movies. But I think Cha-Cha Real Smooth is one that kind of flew under the radar. I thought that was going to be a bigger movie. A lot of people hate it also.
Yeah, it sold for like $25 million.
To Apple, yeah.
Yeah,
and
after it premiered at the film festival.
And I didn't hear anything about it since then.
No, well, when it came out on Apple, I definitely saw a lot of people logging it on Letterboxd. For a movie like that to really hit, it's tough. It's a small movie. A lot of people aren't familiar with, what's his name again?
I know it, but I can't say it right now.
Boy, can it come to my head? Because I feel like...
I think it could if I thought about
Cooper
it.
Wraith?
Cooper Wraith.
Yeah. A lot of people aren't familiar with him, and they didn't see his first movie, which I thought was actually a better movie, Shithouse. But that's a movie I didn't love. No? I remember when I watched it at Sundance, and... but a lot of people did like it. And I think a lot of people who watched it at Sundance expected it to become like the indie hit of the year. It's tough these days, man.
No.
It seems like nobody cares about anything.
Especially with Apple TV. I really don't know anybody with Apple TV. I have Apple TV.
You could get 3 months free if you do the Will Smith thing.
You slap somebody?
Imagine that. That'd be totally just futuristic.
Yeah.
The integration there. You need a special wristband. No, he was trying to get people to watch his new movie, Emancipation.
Mm-hmm.
And he was giving out 3 free months. And if you buy a PS5, you get like 6 months.
I think I just bundled it one day, like I got a notification. It's like bundled with Apple Music. I'm like, sure.
But The Woman King was another movie that I saw on a lot of year-end lists, and a movie that I thought was very good. I thought at times it was a bit too Hollywood, where it could have been a bit dirtier, uglier maybe because of the subject matter, but Viola Davis and Lashana Lynch, all the actresses in that movie were fantastic.
And obviously Viola Davis is always a standout, but like Lashana Lynch in that movie was fucking awesome.
Yeah, she's got some alluring qualities to her. Even when she was in the Bond movie last year, where she didn't have such a big role, but you can't take your eyes off of her. And what was your other picks?
The Godland. I think I didn't see that like a few weeks ago.
Yes, you did. You mentioned it.
Icelandic movie. Very slow burn, but I think it's a movie you would actually really like and appreciate. Very slow, very a lot of visual aspects, storytelling, and dialogue driven. But I think it's something. It was more of like an experience watching. I think it was like the first movie I saw at TIFF, and it was like. Well, first or second. I think I saw it on the first day, and I really was surprised how much I like it. I thought it was going to be my favorite going out of the festival, but I enjoyed that one a lot. And then the Cowett sang a song Into the Future. I think I saw that was Sundance, Chilean movie. I remember picking it because I just liked the title. Had nothing, no cow, no singing, but that was one that's very atmospheric, and that's usually what I'm gravitate towards too when I watch a movie, is just the atmosphere it's able to create, and I found that one to be quite mesmerizing and beautiful. It's very nature-driven, a little fantastical at times, so it's definitely...
Sounds interesting.
I don't know where you could find it. There was like 17 reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, so not many people have seen the movie, but if it's out there... I'd give it a watch.
Yeah, I remember seeing that on the schedule too. I just didn't pick it. Maybe I should have.
Yeah.
But sometimes you
can
by judge a book by its cover, and the cover looks really good, and then the movie ends up being good.
That's what the cover's for. It's for you to judge the book.
Right. That's part of it. It's marketing.
And then All Quiet on the Western Front. Felt like that was going to be a little bit higher, but I think I dropped it down a little bit because I still very much enjoyed it. But it's a war movie. It hits all the same beats, but I thought it was very well done. Definitely one of the...
I mean, the way it was shot was... It was incredible. You wonder how the hell did they do this?
But like compared to recent war movies, I think it's up there, but I don't think it's at a level of like 1917 or anything like that. It just scares me. War movies just freak me out.
Right. And it's one of those where if you've seen Saving Private Ryan, you get that same feeling. So I don't think this is for everyone, but it's just for me. I've almost become numb to the carnage of certain war movies, especially this one because it was so nonstop. But I was just more impressed with it on a technical level because of how real it looked.
Those opening sequences and the battle sequences were, I think, very well done because it did have that sense of what makes war so scary that at any second a bullet can just take you out.
Yeah, and I like how they did the dual stories of the men trying to stop the war and then us actually seeing what's happening and why they're so desperate to have a peace, have a truce. So, yeah, it was definitely a movie I enjoyed when it came out on Netflix. Netflix had a few good movies this year. A couple of them made my list. That's your 5, right?
Yeah.
So my 20 to 16, 20 was Good Luck to You, Leo Grande. 19 was Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. 18 was Babylon. 17 Enola Holmes 2. People may be surprised to hear that on my list. And 16 was Bright. So yeah, like you said, a couple of blockbusters here.
Yeah.
Babylon obviously is looking like the biggest flop maybe in the history of movies, and it's been a controversial movie on film Twitter.
That's why some people seem to love it.
Yeah, hate or love it. I lean more towards love it. Obviously, it was on my top 20, and I just appreciated how bold and ambitious it was. And it's not perfect. It does have flaws. I think sometimes the characters are a little bit too thin for a movie that's 3 hours. You felt like they could have been more developed, but the performances, there was such a great commitment from all the actors and actresses in this movie. Diego Calva and Margot Robbie leading it. Great chemistry, the two of them. Have these big dreams, want to break into Hollywood, but the harsh reality of Hollywood sets in, and they see how hard it is and how disgusting the town can be. And Brad Pitt, coming into it, I was wondering if he would have that look of an old-time movie star, because he's such a modern movie star. But the way they dressed him up, some of those shots in black and white, man, he looks like those old-time stars. And he was really good in it, too. Good luck to you, Leo Grande. I was happy that managed to stay on my top 20 because I saw it early in the year, and I was so impressed with it when I first saw it. Emma Thompson and Daryl McCormick, probably the best on-screen chemistry of any two actors of a movie I've watched this year.
I just saw an ad for that. Is it coming out on streaming somewhere?
I felt like it already did come out. I think it might be on Hulu, so if anyone's interested.
Yeah, I have Hulu's ads, so.
Right, it's probably on the ads, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I told a lot of older people in my life to watch this movie, and I think a lot of them did enjoy it. And I think it's the subject matter of sexual freedom. It can be a topic that people stay away from, especially in today's world. It seems like we're all afraid of sex. So from the perspective of an older woman looking for those, satisfying sexual experiences was something that I enjoyed. And Emma Thompson's hot, so.
Yeah.
Mrs. Paris Goes to Paris, probably the most charming movie of the year. I just mentioned this on a podcast a few weeks ago that I wanted to watch it. And I was like, you know what? Let me gear this one up. Leslie Manville, such an incredible actress. She's had such a great career, and it's so awesome that someone in their mid-60s can get a role as fully fleshed out as this one. And I was so invested in her journey to simply go to Paris and buy a luxury dress. That's really all the movie is. But she becomes this guardian angel for all the characters that she encounters, and incredible performance. Enola Holmes 2.
That was my honorable mention.
Yeah, maybe before we get to 15, we'll do some honorable mentions. But I love this movie. I thought it was such a clever mystery, and I wasn't that big of a fan of the first one. I thought it was okay. It was cute. But this, to me, felt like a real movie. Not only was it her movie, but we got some cool stuff with Sherlock, but he never overshadows Enola. It remains her story. She's got the romantic interests, and I thought that was really well done. And like I said, the mystery. I'm a sucker for a genius detective solving a clever mystery, and I thought they did it so well, where I was invested step by step by step until it's finally cracked at the end. And I'm excited about this franchise moving forward. I'd love to see 3, 4, 5.
People think Henry Cavill left The Witcher for Superman.
No, he left it to... Well, honestly, I think it would be cool if he got a spinoff as Sherlock, maybe just once, and they gave him his Watson there at the end. Spoilers.
Well, I mean...
You knew it was
Sherlock
coming.
gets his Watson.
Sherlock always gets his Watson. And number 16 was Prey. I think this was the best... This is a great example of how to do a sci-fi prequel. None of the same characters, new setting, new type of predator. It's, like I said, it's just the best way to do a prequel. People were still upset by it, which always blows my mind, but I thought stripping it down, having a Native American woman lead the charge against this overwhelming force was just awesome. And not only that, but the elements of this movie were so great as well, because at times she was just, like I said, fighting against the forest, not even fighting against the predator. So I thought it was a great movie. The action was just gripping.
Probably
so
just
violent.
Entertainment value. It's one of the top movies of the year.
Yeah, a lot of the movies on my list were just big, entertaining movies made for the big screen, even though I watched this at home. So, and a lot of them were really well done this year. So yeah, Prey at 16. But for honorable mentions, right outside my top 20, I had Black Panther 2, Glass Onion, Michael Bay's Ambulance.
Yeah, I had
so those are some of my favorite movies of the year.
Prey, Enola Holmes, Barbarian, honorable mention.
Okay.
There was a lot of I feel like this year there was a lot of 3.5, 4-star type movies. More so than the 4.5, 5s that I was you typically get. But I think from even looking at your list now on Letterboxd, you can follow him at Beau Soup. Yeah, I got you, boy. If you go down to your 50s, you still have some good movies in there.
No, legit.
Emily
1
the Criminal
50.
at 53. Black Phone, a lot of people liked at 56. All Quiet on Western Front 52. The movies you didn't hate necessarily. But
no, a lot of those movies I gave 3.5 stars. Yeah. Pearl at 50. I really enjoyed Pearl. Triangle of Sadness I had at 43, which was really good. Even Pinocchio I liked. It's at 38. That's why the list is fluid.
Pinocchio's going to make a dive into your top 10?
No, I don't think so. Sorry, Pinocchio.
Fucking menace.
I love the memes of when Pinocchio's roasting you and his nose doesn't grow. Fucking bastard. And, one of my favorite performances of the year, this was a movie that's at 29, Rebecca Hall in Resurrection.
Yeah.
That's arguably the best performance of the year. And I think it's Rachel Snow in Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. That is actually my favorite performance of the year. And I thought Bodies, Bodies, Bodies was a little overhated. I thought it was a fun satire of Gen Z, very convincing, very funny. And like I said, Rachel Snow, somebody called her the modern day Lucille Ball, and I think that's such a funny comparison because her physical comedy it's going viral now on Twitter. Have you seen it when she calls the girl upper middle class? Her delivery is just so perfect. So yeah, those are some of the honorable mentions. Any others you want to mention?
Um,
I'd Scream at 25. One of your favorites.
I hated Scream. Yeah, off the top, I mean, there'll probably be some of the ones you say, because I think our lists are going to be pretty different moving forward. But, I mean, speaking of great performances, at 15 is Tar. I just watched that recently.
You into Bach?
No, he's, what was he? Too sexist?
He's a womanizer,
yeah. It's a movie where it's just like, I have no idea what the fuck they're talking about half the time, but it's just intriguing, and I think a lot of that is just Cate Blanchett being the best actor in the world, maybe, because she should be talked about like we do Meryl Streep, or get the praise and nominations that she does. Even she does, but I feel like she's left out in times as being the best. Yeah,
Meryl Streep had
ever.
The perfect career of some mainstream hits and then some critical acclaim. I'm trying to think, what's the most mainstream Cate Blanchett has been? The Lord of the Rings, but she wasn't the main character. You know, you kind of just remember her as the elegant spiritual woman.
Her only wins were for Aviator and Carol, right?
Blue Jasmine?
She won for Blue Jasmine? She didn't win for Carol. No.
I don't think she won for Carol, yeah.
She won supporting for Aviator.
Yeah. And then I think she won lead for Blue Jasmine, which again, Aviator, people remember Leo, and Blue Jasmine, people know of it, but it's not, Woody Allen movie, and it wasn't like this huge, you know.
And I remember it for Andrew Dice Clay, obviously.
Of course. But Tar was, she was incredible in Tar.
Yeah, I would let, like, I don't know.
Don't make that joke with especially the character she was playing.
No, just Cate Blanchett in general.
Okay, just Cate Blanchett, right?
Like
Tar.
Bury Me Alive.
Because Tar would.
Yeah.
She would try to do that.
Yeah, she's just fantastic in everything. And each scene she's in, just, even though it is just a dialogue movie that is broken up with some pretty beautiful pieces of music. As someone who's not like the biggest classical music fan, but
I hate to be this pretentious, but I love Mahler. So the fact that, and Mahler's Fifth Symphony played a big part in another movie this year. He makes good music, man. He's a master of death. Overrated.
Mickey Mouse composer.
Yeah. Well, the Romantic period, they all specialized on one type of music, so they were all overrated. They weren't doing it like Bach.
Yeah.
Shout out to
Tar's
Bach.
a movie, I think it's like you either vibe with it or, well, not vibe with it in the sense of like, obviously, like, but like just in general with the movie, or you're just gonna absolutely hate it.
Oh, if Teddy watched this, he would have us both arrested for recommending it to him.
Literally, it's just talking and music, which was art at the spirit's form, right? Was that pretentious?
Well, that's what we're here for.
Yeah. 14 3 minutes of lengthening. They found 3 minutes of documentary footage from I believe it was Poland's World War II. And what they were able to dissect from that footage and put together a story, it was really fascinating. It's really like an expert level of storytelling, and the way they were able to bring the footage to life and stop and find details about it and kind of create this narrative around this found footage was one of the more impressive things I saw all year. It wasn't like the most entertaining thing, but just from that aspect alone, it was very, very intriguing. And I think it's something that a lot of people should. It's only like an hour, I think, or maybe a little longer.
Is it streaming anywhere?
I don't know.
Maybe you can rent it.
Yeah, but it's just pretty fascinating. A nice little what people, or what we were able to do now with, or how we're able to look deeper into. I think one review was like
it's on Hulu.
Yeah. One review was like, a picture is worth 1,000 words, the movie. So that's basically what they do. And
yeah, it sounds fascinating.
Yes, it's very good. I definitely recommend it. And then at 13, I have Nope.
Nice.
12, I was going to say Aviator. 12 Avatar, 11 Glass Onion.
Nice.
That's like my big...
there's some bangers there.
Yeah. Nope might be a little bit higher. I feel like this grouping I have coming up is all like interchangeable. It's like my banger blockbuster portion of my list.
Yeah. Glass Onion just missed my top 20. I thought it was better than the first one. I had so much fun with it. I watched it twice.
I've been balancing what I think I'm back on Knives Out being better, but it's just a fun movie.
It is.
And I very much enjoy how the mystery, how that all unfolded. I don't want to spoil it yet because it literally just came out, but I thought that was like my favorite part of figuring out the how and the why and all that coming together. And I think Benoit Blanc is just the best character ever.
He's rising the ranks.
He's just fun to watch and
of fictional detectives.
Yeah.
I mean, the dinner scene was
his charm, his humor, the way he sees things. It's so great.
I love all the memes now of him with Detective Pikachu.
And he's just not a dick. Like
No.
Sherlock Holmes is a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Batman's a douchebag. Benoit Blanc I would hang out with. I'd go shopping with him, give me some fresh ass outfits.
He can cut deep, but only when it's necessary.
He's mean to people who need to be mean to.
Right. He's got a good heart. He's a silly man. Foghorn Leghorn ass accent. By God, you are a yellow rodent.
Some of those memes have been hilarious. It's like Benoit Blanc in Twin Peaks. It's like, there's a burrito girl on the shore.
You know what? They have a lot of similarities, Dale Cooper and Benoit Blanc. You gave Dale Cooper a southern accent. Diane, I'm staring here at a box of chocolate bunnies.
What else did
I hope Janelle Monáe becomes his Watson, but go ahead.
I don't think... I kind of like him just being the main... Because then what about Ana de Armas?
She's got a house to run. She's a rich woman now. This chick is from Alabama. Get her out of the house.
And then Avatar is, like, we talked about it in the review, one of, like, the most visually stunning things I've seen. It was incredible. Story-wise, definitely lacking, but as an overall experience, I think it's really one of the better blockbusters to have come out recently, ever. I don't know.
Yeah, people criticize the story, but I don't think he gets enough credit for making us believe in some really goofy stuff. The fact that so many people came out of that movie with an emotional attachment to a fictional whale is incredible. I think that's a mark of a great storyteller. And yeah, maybe some of the things could be less lifted from other things that we've seen, to put it nicely, but Avatar's on my list, so I'm with you on that one. Similar placement.
No, yeah, it was just, I still think about that. I need to go see it again in 3D before it's out of theaters, because it is something that you really don't see often, or that level of detail, that on that scale. It's just, it really is unprecedented, and that's why I think hopefully it makes more money and continues to make money, so we get the other ones.
It's looking like it could cross $2 billion. They're saying it's projected to top Gun. So it's going to be interesting to watch over these next few weeks.
If it makes $2 billion, they profit $10 or something?
Well, at the very least, we'll get the third one. I think if it gets to $2 billion.
That's all, yeah.
That's all I care about at this point. Fuck Disney, right?
Easy. They're listening.
And Nope, right?
Yeah, Nope. Yeah, that one it could be a little higher, I feel like, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. But like I said, like, this grouping is pretty much all on the same level, I feel like. Nope was awesome. And it's another movie I felt like, I don't know, it doesn't really have, I don't want to say it doesn't have legs, but I don't really see people still talking about Nope this late in the game right now when it comes to best movies of the year, but I think it deserves to be up there. I think the chemistry between the two leads, the way they constructed and planned out and trying to figure out what this thing was, I thought was all really well done. And just Jean Jacket in general was just such a magnificent thing to see on IMAX. The thing floating in the air, especially those later scenes in the movie, were really some of the better, more beautiful shots I've seen this year.
Yeah, I agree. Very good movie. Jordan Peele, man, he's 3 for 3 with his first 3. So
yeah, I think I'm probably in the same place though, right? Well, I can't Get Out, Nope, and then
Us,
yeah. In that order.
Great titles for his movies. Well, going to my 15 through 11. 15 for me was Top Gun Maverick. 14 was The Fabelmans. 13 was Avatar: The Way of Water. 12 was In Front of Your Face. And 11 was After Yang. After Yang, another movie I was happy that stuck around because I feel like that's a movie that went under the radar for a lot of people. And it was such a sweet and gentle movie that deals with technology, but in an optimistic way, where maybe technology can have a positive impact on your life. So that's a movie I would recommend to a lot of people if they want something that's going to hit them in the heart,
no, I have that
but
at
also
8.
leave you uplifted.
I have that at 8, so I guess I'll just talk about it now. That was, like you said, it was just a beautiful movie. Especially, there's a scene later on in the movie where Colin Farrell is able to see the memories of the robot and everything.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the more powerful scenes.
That was a great sequence. One that definitely stuck in my mind a long time after watching it.
Basic premise. I mean, basic themes. Maybe not basic, but like, what is it to be human? But the way it's explored through this situation in this family unit, in this futuristic society, I thought was very emotional at times and very endearing. It's one of those movies that's endearing, but also really like sad at the same time.
Yes, it is. And even, it's multi-layered because at the center of it is this young Asian American girl who's adopted. So she's also learning about her history, her ancestry, where she comes from, and how she is part of two worlds that make her one person. So I thought that was very touching as well. And the performances were really great. You can argue that Colin Farrell had himself a hell of a year.
Batman, Banshees.
Yeah. Grindelwald. Well, no, he wasn't in that. Yeah, no, great year for him, man. He was busy man in 2021.
Then I have Top Gun at 9, so we could talk about that too.
Oh, look at that, yeah. I mean,
it's just dudes rock.
Dudes rock movie, once again, the perfect way to make a legacy sequel where you bring back Tom Cruise, and he's awesome in this role. And, the metaphor of saving cinema, it's all over the movie. He's the last movie star. He's a dying breed. But at least we got to enjoy this adventure with him. And the supporting characters in this were great.
I didn't hate Miles Teller.
Didn't hate Miles Teller. I actually enjoyed him.
Yeah.
Rooster. And Hangman, Glenn Powell.
Perfect douchebag.
Perfect douchebag. $1 million smile. How is he not the biggest movie star? He would have been the biggest movie star in the world if he was born in like 1902.
If this came out in the 80s, he would be the biggest thing.
And the action, man. I mean, one of those movies, once again, where it's like, how did you film that? And this is what you want out of your $100 million blockbuster movies. You want to see things that you couldn't imagine yourself or you thought wouldn't ever be possible. So those dogfighting sequences, it's one of those movies that you can watch with the sound off and just try and focus on, this angle and that angle and how they made it all make sense. None of it's ever overwhelming.
Even the practice runs and then seeing that reflected in the real mission was all like the attention to detail there was actually very, very well done, very apparent. I don't recommend watching it with the sound off because that was one of the best parts.
No, the sound is really good.
Just very immersive and tense, even though it does have, like with Avatar, I think you can point issues in the story, but that's not what the movie is. Like the dialogue and everything.
Yeah, it's a basic story, but sometimes that works.
It's a throwback in that regard, but that's all you need because
you get swept up in it.
Yeah.
You're rooting for Tom Cruise when he does make that one practice run to show them all that it's possible.
Danger zone, man.
Right. You want to just get up and cheer. Like, yeah. Like the military guys at the end,
Mm-hmm.
They all fist bump. If I could be an actor in a movie, I want to be the stubborn military
John
guy.
Hamm, perfect.
Yeah, perfect. Poor guy. Another honorable mention, Confess Fletch.
Even Ed Harris, too. Ed Harris was a douchebag military man.
Barely, though. Could have used more Ed Harris. Number 14 for me was The Fabelmans, like I said. Another Steven Spielberg, not masterpiece, but close to it. This is actually a movie that you can really watch with the sound off and see why he's such a great visual storyteller, because you can get everything without a line of dialogue from what's happening on screen, and that's why he's so brilliant. That's why so many people consider him the best, but a technical masterpiece. And I thought the story was very moving. Obviously it's self-indulgent. It's about his life growing up, but it's an interesting story, and it's one that has been documented for many years now. So to actually see it come to life, and it felt like almost, it was definitely a love letter to his family, and almost showing us the power of cinema, how you can go back and change things. That's something that you can't do in real life. The past is written. But with this film, it's almost like him embracing his parents and telling them, I understand what you guys were going through. I wish I could have done this for you at the time. I wish I could have relayed or conveyed that understanding when I was so young. But I thought it was, like I said, very close to being just a brilliant movie. And it's Steven Spielberg, man. And the performances have gone really underrated. I think the lead, Gabriel LaBelle, he's not getting enough love for my liking. There was the one scene at the end, I don't want to spoil it, was a great moment for him.
With the bully? Or
yeah, with the bully. But I thought the whole movie, he was really fantastic. And Michelle Williams arguably had the best performance of any actor or actress of the year in The Fabelmans. So on so many levels, it was a great movie.
No, yeah, all the emotional beats. Well, seeing just from a interest in film, seeing a young Steven Spielberg is always going to be just fascinating from that angle. Underrated, one of the funnier movies of the year. A lot of laugh out loud moments, and yeah, I'll talk about that a little bit more. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, it felt like he lightened up a bit, because some of his movies, when they're dealing with serious topics, sometimes it's hard to find humor.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of funny moments in this movie. A lot of clever gags that you don't really get from some previous Spielberg flicks. Yeah, and there's, of course, the one scene that everybody couldn't stop talking about when it premiered, lived up to the hype.
Which scene is that?
Come on, the scene. Come on.
The last scene?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, it's
incredible.
It's a great scene.
And the way it was introduced, it's so meta on so many levels. So.
Oh yeah, the meta aspect. Like there was a few times, and it hit every time.
Even Judd Hirsch, I thought his scene was
he was
one that
awesome,
really stuck with me.
No, yeah, I agree. I have it a lot higher than you.
You saying I disrespected Spielberg?
He's disrespected Fabelmans.
Well, it's after Avatar, so.
Yeah, wow. Take that.
Well, maybe if
Cinema.
Spielberg would have added a whale to his movie, but that's what really grabbed me about the Avatar. The Avatar: The Way of Water. It was just about that whale and how awesome he was. No, but of course, technically, the technical master, James Cameron. And it's become such a cliche to say, but I don't think people are ever going to learn not to bet on this guy. Because even you're seeing it now after the success of this movie. Oh, nobody's memeing it. Nobody's gifing it. It's like, people exist outside of Twitter, my guy. People are going to watch this movie because they remembered the first one and they really liked it, and they don't have Twitter accounts, and they're going back to see this one. Even though I think the first one, I enjoyed it a bit more. Maybe the story is a bit stronger in the first one, because I think an origin story, it's just always easier to tell. But this blew me away, mostly from a visual and technical aspect. So
yeah,
it's a movie you can watch over and over again and just admire everything that he's imagining.
The main complaint I saw is it's boring. I mean, there is an hour portion of this movie where it's just vibes, and if you're vibing with it, you're gonna like the movie.
Yeah. No, it is. I like a fictional nature documentary, and at points, that's what it becomes.
I have 3 documentaries on my top 20.
Look at that.
Yeah.
And I think that's what interests James Cameron the most. I think the visuals come first and the story comes second. I think that's how it's actually made, where they think, okay, I have this idea for this set piece. Is this possible? Yes, it is. Okay, let's put together a story so it all makes sense. And I think it does come together in a very cohesive narrative. It's not that easy when you're telling a story of this scale. So I think he doesn't get enough credit for his storytelling abilities. And the performances in this one, I thought, were a step up from the first movie as well. Stephen Lang was a great part of that first movie, and then he becomes even better in this one, a bit more complicated, more layers to his character. And the standout being my boy Spider.
Oh, fuck you.
Just kidding. But I actually like Spider more than most.
This would have been top 10 if the Spider wasn't
No
out.
Spider.
Yeah.
No, but the whale. I mean, like I said, it's just incredible that James Cameron made everyone fall in love with this totally fake and CGI'd creature. But that was awesome. And he's doing what he loves to do. He loves CGI, he loves nature, he loves the ocean, right? So
Yeah.
It is the spectacle of all spectacles for 2022.
Yeah, I agree. Is that it?
No, and then I had In Front of Your Face, directed by Hong Sang-soo. This is a movie that I just saw recently. And he's a South Korean director. I haven't seen any other of his films, but I'm definitely excited to explore more of them because this was great. It's about a former actress who has a secret, and she's living in the United States, but she returns home to Seoul to live with her sister and reconnect with some of the people from her hometown. It was a very gentle, moving movie that deals with some heavy subject matter. And I thought it was very well written. The conversations are very engaging, and the performances, although they are subtle, they're very powerful. And like I said, some of the subject matter is a bit heavy, but he deals with it in such a compassionate way. So it was a movie that I really enjoyed, and I'm excited to explore some of his other films.
Interesting. I'll have to check it out.
Well, before we get to your top 10, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor for today's video, and that would be Smile Brilliant, who's been nice enough to sponsor us a lot this year, so shout out to them. Now, if you're like me, you're probably confused by all the different variations of teeth whitening products on the market. Items like LED lights, whitening strips, charcoal, and whitening toothpaste might sound good in theory, but they don't fully get the job done like one of Smile Brilliant's custom-fitted whitening trays. LED lights will accelerate the process, but they won't make your teeth whiter and could lead to more teeth sensitivity. Whitening strips totally neglect gum lines, crevices, and molars. They work, but your remaining stains will become more prominent. Charcoal is abrasive and wears down the tooth enamel, while whitening toothpaste only works on surface stains. But with one of Smile Brilliant's custom-fitted whitening trays, you can freshen your smile without worrying about damaging your teeth, or leaving behind any noticeable stains. Historically, whitening trays were only dispensed by dentists at a price of $300 to $1,000. But that all changed when Smile Brilliant came up with their innovative Lab Direct process that is not only less expensive, but far more effective in achieving that picture-perfect smile we all crave. And right now, you can visit smilebrilliant.com and take advantage of their special holiday sale, which is running throughout December. You can also use promo code NERDSOUP5 to save an extra 5% off all products, including their custom-fitted teeth whitening trays or a custom-fitted night guard if you're someone like me who grinds your teeth in their sleep. It truly does help. It's something I can't recommend enough. They also have a great selection of professional oral care products such as electric toothbrushes, water flosser, dental probiotics, and much more. So head on over to their website and remember, use NERDSOUP5 for an extra 5% off all products during this very special holiday sale. Now, you still haven't tried it in these products, right?
No, I love all of them.
Because I can smell you from over here.
That's mean.
You just love them, but you won't try.
I know you're joking, but now I'm self-conscious.
You take the holistic approach. You just spit on your finger and...
Yep, exactly.
That's disgusting. Teddy just takes a scoop of peanut butter.
Ew. Ew.
Sorry. All right, just get into your top 10.
Well, 9 and 8 already talked about with Top Gun and After Yang, but 10 I have the Batman.
Nice.
Hell yeah. You know Batman's coming in top 10.
Yeah, a lot of movies with cool detectives.
Yeah. It might
This
be
year.
the best, the coolest detective of all
It
time.
might be. Although in this one, he's a bit of a loner. Bit of a loser.
Yeah, but he found out the benefits of friendship.
Well, Zoe Kravitz, right?
That's what the movie's about, right?
Hard to say
Friendship.
no. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it at length throughout the year, but when Matt Reeves was able to create his version of Gotham, so intriguing, such a fun kind of world to get into. I think that's why when we talk about with Batman and a DCEU, like, you really don't need that because Gotham is just so rich with characters and as a setting. It just really comes to life in this movie, and there's so much to dive into here. And as the first chapter of what is looking like to be a pretty extensive dive into this version, Matt Reeves's Batverse, it definitely did a great job of setting that up. And Robert Pattinson, all the hesitation, all the talk going into it, he really just put that all to bed with one of the better performances as Batman, as Bruce Wayne in any film. And as an introduction to this version, I think it really just nailed it on every level. Looked great, great performances, good action, the music, outstanding. Really just a complete story here when it comes to, we always classify comic book movies separate from other movies for some reason, but this works on any level.
Yeah, definitely.
Then 9, Top Gun, 8, After Yang, and 7, The Northman.
Nice.
I'm so pissed this wasn't a bigger movie.
Yeah, once again, another blockbuster that was meant to be a big movie.
It had everything going for it. Vikings,
I know.
Alexander Skarsgård, Anya Taylor-Joy. What more do you want? Viewing public.
Fighter jets, apparently.
Na'vi.
Na'vi or fighter jets. Now,
Yeah.
honestly, if you add a Na'vi with a fighter jet to this,
Oh, it's
kind of works.
best movie of all time.
Yeah. Yeah, I really love The Northman too, so.
I mean, just brutal at times, but also I feel like the way they introduced this character and like that first opening scene was just one of the coolest things I've seen.
Oh yeah, he was fucking up everybody.
Yeah, just fucking ripped Viking man, just catching spears and blood all over him, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? But when it slows down, it kind of has some of that artistic indie flair to it that really blends these two kind of genres together in a way that I don't think is really attempted that much It's either, I feel like some avenues are just to make it a full-out action bloodbath, or you take the less slow burn approach, but you kind of got both of it. And that final scene, too, that final fight scene was just beautiful to watch.
Incredible.
And then 6 is Banshees of Inisherin.
Nice.
I'm glad people are appreciating this movie. My grandma hated it, and a lot of people hate it.
Yeah. My
Talk about nothing but just dialogue.
Yeah. And a very simple, silly premise to a lot of people.
Somebody said for Jack Gleason's character, it was
Brendan Gleeson.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Joffrey came back.
Jack Gleason could have played in this too. He is Irish.
Yeah. I want to see that version. Maybe a younger version. And you cast...
Jack is... Well, not casting Domhnall Gleeson would be just disrespectful.
Yeah.
Jack could play young Colin Farrell.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I mean, somebody...
it's like a game of sticking to the bit, and this is your opponent.
Yeah. One of the guys I follow on Letterboxd, Marmar, he said Colin Farrell should only do comedies because he might be the best comedic performer ever. And it's so true, dude. Just every facial expression, the way he can use his eyebrows.
No, he played the dumb shit, but like
so
oblivious
endearing.
Kind of...
Just a guy who's content, right? The way they introduce him. There's a rainbow in the sky. He's got a big smile on his face. He loves his donkey. Not a care in the world.
Nope. On this remote island. No, he did a great job in that. And I think he's, like you said, what a year for Colin Farrell. He is very funny. And he's so sad when he finds out this man just doesn't want to be his friend anymore.
Right, yeah. Just simple premise, but very, very effective because of the performances. And, it's a breakup movie between friends.
I always say that's worse than regular breakups.
No, you see people stick out friendships for their entire lives, even if they don't like someone, because of how awkward it would be.
If someone broke up with me as a friend, I would be like, that's fucking shit. Like, that's terrible.
I'll keep that in mind.
Because then you just hate me on every level.
Yeah, right. It's one thing because if you're in a relationship, there's a lot of commitment there.
Yeah, and different things, life and whatever, and maybe who knows what happens there. But friendships, it's like, I don't even want to, like, hang out with you and, like, watch the game.
Well, they basically were in a relationship because their entire lives were going to the pub every day, right?
Yeah. Just chilling.
If you had a friend that you had to see every day, maybe it would be a bit easier to understand. But obviously for Colin Farrell, it wasn't.
That's tough.
But Martin McDonagh, a lot of people didn't like 3 Billboards, but I did. So I've always been very impressed with his writing in most of his movies. And
I think In Bruges is, like, generally considered, like, very, very good.
Yeah.
For a lot of people.
And a lot of people don't like 7 Psychopaths, but this could be his best movie years down the road. That's why the list remains fluid for me. So, yeah, I have it at number 7. Are you done with your 5?
Yeah. Well, I had Top Gun and After Yang. We talked about that with yours.
Okay, cool. Well, number 10 for me was After Sun. Directorial debut from Charlotte Wells, which I said on Letterboxd, years to come, it may go down as one of the best directorial debuts of all time. Young filmmaker, only 35 years old, and it was shot like someone who had been making movies for 40 years. Maybe the best cinematography of any film all year. Number 9 was Barbarian, just batshit crazy from
that's a good one.
Start to finish. Might be the most fun I've had with a movie. Well, probably the second most fun I've had with a movie all year. Number 8, Batman. I mean, you said it best. It's a good Batman movie. I think Robert Pattinson is the best actor to play Batman, the best version that we've seen of Batman in live action.
Better than Christian Bale?
Better than Christian Bale. You know me, I love Christian Bale, but...
Say he's better than Leo.
He's just... his version of Batman. Not the best actor. Okay. I think Christian Bale's still a better actor. I actually enjoyed him in Amsterdam, even if that was a piece of shit movie. His Batman was just a bit weirder, more of an incel. Which is funny to say that you like that from Batman, but that's how he's written in the comics. He's a fucked up character, and I think he's also a flawed character, and this movie explored that as well, that just being this pissed off, angry, I'm going to punch you in order to get vengeance, that doesn't always work. So one of the critics I follow on Letterboxd, Jake Cole, said the movie tackles the idea of...
Cole World?
Cole World.
Wow, I didn't know he had a letterbox.
It's the first Batman movie to say, what if we can make Gotham not necessarily a safer place, but a better place? And I think that was the message at the end of that movie when you see Batman in the daylight. So for his arc in the movie, there's a lot of development, a lot of characterization that I really appreciated, that I think a lot of directors have been hesitant to bring to the big screen. Everyone just wants Batman to be cool.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think a lot of the movies, even in the Nolan movies, from the little we saw in the Snyderverse, Bruce Wayne is presented as cool, flashy cars with women. Here, I like them exploring, like, he didn't create Bruce Wayne yet.
Right. Yeah, that's very much the mask, and he needs to still create that. He's too obsessed with being Batman. That's why I love him.
Yeah. So I think that was actually a very good decision to make, and maybe we can see that more develop in the other films. But him year one, not really knowing who he is. Well, year two, right? Not really knowing who he is, how to balance Bruce and Batman, and it's kind of just one at this moment in his life. I appreciated that.
I wish they would have called it Batman Year 2. I think that would have been a better title. The Batman.
People are like, oh, I didn't see year one.
Right. No, that's 100% would have happened.
Yeah.
Number 7, Banshees of Inisherin. For a movie that is so tense at times, I felt so relaxed while watching it, and I think it's because of the setting, the fact that they're in walking distance to the pub, the quiet life of living on an island. But for one of the characters, that's what's sort of driving him mad. It really is about a man who's depressed and he feels his life is very insignificant. He just feels small. And I think that's why he makes the decision to end the friendship with the man who is completely content with life. He asks for nothing and wants for nothing. So the tension between those two characters was great, and it makes for so many great comedic moments. But like I said, just the way it was shot, the setting, the beers that they were drinking, everything about it just made me feel very relaxed, and I thought it was a very enjoyable experience. And some of the, Kerry Condon was the breakout star from this movie, and she's been in some films. I think she's had some she's got like a background role in the MCU.
She looks recognizable.
Yeah.
But she's not.
Talk about great casting, right? She was the perfect woman to put in that position. So that may be the breakout performance of the year, but a really good movie. And like I said, years down the road, it may be considered Martin McDonagh's best. And number 6 was a movie called Broker from Hirokazu Koreeda, one of my favorite Japanese directors working today, a movie I just saw a few days ago. This left me an emotional mess, and I don't even want to say much about it, but it's about these two men who set up a baby box. So if you're a mother who wants to get rid of your baby, you can put it in this box, and they'll find other parents to sell it to. So it deals with the ethical questions of, is that the right thing to do?
The old fire department trick. Right,
exactly. But it's very funny, and it's got a lot of the same themes of
comedy.
It is.
Okay.
No, there's some. It's like a comedy drama.
Gotcha.
With the dad from Parasite, Song Kang-ho, who, once again, I think he's not only one of the best actors we have working today, but he's just such a good dad actor. You watch him on screen and you're like, man, I wish I had someone to care about me like that. But like I said, similar themes to his other movies, just set in South Korea, which I love. I love when directors really find what they want to tackle on screen and just do it over and over again with some new twists and some new flavor. So the visuals were incredible, just the setting of South Korea, and great performances throughout. And like I said, it left me just a puddle of emotions by the end of it. One of the best end credits, just sitting through it and contemplating what you just watched. So many layers. One of my favorite follows on Letterboxd, Sin K, had a great review of this movie without any spoilers whatsoever. So if you want to get a good idea of what this movie is about, I would say check out his review. But very easily could have been in my top 5. Very easily could have been number 1. This is when you're getting to the territory of, how am I even judging what's better? It's difficult, but another great movie from Hirokazu Koreeda. And just a quick word about Barbarian. Totally skipped over it when I was listening to movies after it. One of the most batshit experiences in a movie theater this year. Probably the most batshit. I went into it without knowing anything about the story of what was going to happen, and I recommend everyone watch this movie that way if you haven't already seen it. And the more that it revealed about its story, the crazier it got.
Yeah.
So it was just an insane experience, and easily could have been a movie that cracked my top 5. But these are, it's getting to the point where it's, like I said, it's just super difficult to decide where you should rank these films.
No, even my top 5 right now, pretty much all interchangeable. I don't think, if I were to list it, I wouldn't put I would be no particular order.
It's tough, man. I mean, my top 3 was so difficult, but go ahead. I'll let you start.
5, I have a movie you loved with a whale.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Not the one from the Avatar movie.
I was going to quote tweet your review and be like me watching the 3rd act of Avatar.
That's good.
But I was like, whatever.
All that for 50 likes.
All that for 50 likes, yeah.
I don't know, man. This is another movie that I feel
people are split on it. A lot of people love it.
Yeah.
Some people don't. But I didn't dislike it for a lot of the reasons other people disliked it.
Yeah.
But I'll let you talk about why you liked it.
Well, I think going into it, I mean, a lot of people, the Brendan Fraser resurgence has been the big topic of conversation surrounding this movie. And I think his performance delivered on every level. I think the character he plays, I think it's not an easy task, but the way he's able to kind of shine through this kind of little optimism and content, maybe not content, but it's something where you expect the situation to be so overwhelming, but the fact that he's able to, through his performance, have that little bit of sense of optimism and show, I think, what Brendan Fraser is, in real life, just this endearing, loving person. And I think that was able to come through in the character pretty well and helped balance out the everything else surrounding the movie. Story-wise, I feel, I don't know, it was one of the more emotional movies I've seen in a theater. I thought it hit pretty well for me, and I get if that's something that doesn't really hit for other people, then you might not see this movie in too much of a positive light, because I think it does, in a lot of ways, rely on the viewer being emotionally attached to what's going on in the relationship between his caretaker, his daughter, and how this character kind of just sees his situation. I think some of the things with Sadie Sink, I thought she was and Hong Chow were both very great in their supporting roles. I think the Sadie Sink character could have been, looking back on it, a few changes here and there to make it less, I don't know,
surface level.
Yeah, but I don't mind anything being surface level.
Less hammy.
Yeah, just contrived. The thing with the what was it, the Mormon guy?
Yeah, the missionary. That was a stretch.
At times I felt I'm this is kind of taking away from what we should be focusing on. But performance basis, I think as an ensemble, those 3 leads are 3 of the better performances of the year for me.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be nominated, but I was very impressed by Brendan Fraser. And Hong Chow, she's just in everything these days. She's got 3 movies coming out this year. They're all critically acclaimed. So she's becoming one of my just favorite support. She had a supporting role in The Menu, and she's got a role in Kelly Reichardt's new movie, which I don't even know how you can watch that. It was playing at Lincoln Center for a few months. Now it's not. But yeah, Brendan Fraser, to me, that was the one thing that I really did like about that movie. I think most of it just fell flat for me. But he was acting. That's acting. And it's very much, you could tell right away that it's based on a play. Going into it, I didn't know it was a play. And I think that so many of these stage to film adaptations. Yeah, it was.
That was one. Oh, no. Women Talking was one that felt like a play, but it wasn't.
Okay. That one I didn't see either.
Or maybe it was a play.
Yeah, I think a lot of these stage to film adaptations, they fail to justify why they were adapted. That's just for me, for a lot of these movies. Yeah.
I think, though, when it comes to movies that are very, the intent is to get an emotional response from your audience. It's either occurs naturally or it's manipulates the viewer into feeling that emotion. For me, I didn't feel manipulated. I just felt I was on board with everything.
Gaslighted? Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was gaslit into being emotionally manipulated by this movie. Yeah. But yeah, it worked for me on that level. And I think I can watch a movie like with Tar and just be so locked in on someone's performance that I kind of that carries a lot of it for me.
Yeah, I think that's why Tar wasn't higher on my list, because the performance was so much better than everything else in that movie. Even though I thought Tar was a good movie, and The Whale just times 20. What was your number 4?
Oh yeah,
I'm excited.
Number 4, I have Fire of Love.
Nice.
Just
still need to see this.
It's on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I imagine it's a very relaxing few hours because of the lava and the volcanoes.
Beautifully shot.
Yeah.
Even
but I
though
love
it's
that shit.
Footage from 30, 40 years ago, it still comes to life on your screen. Obviously, it's spruced up a bit, but I think that it really takes over, especially like with your OLED. I think it's going to really be something special to watch. And just the story around it, these two people who fell in love and the same passion, going to these extremes to study and visualize and kind of immerse themselves into this world. I mean, volcanoes are just cool to begin with. Lava's dope, but the way it's captured and seeing it through their lenses, it really was a special documentary. And I think that's the powerful thing with documentaries, is that there is no need to create emotion or create, maybe with The Whale, like just because we just talked about it, create any additional emotion or try to force anything on you, because it's just all there. It is the most natural form of filmmaking.
Yeah.
So I think the relationship between the characters, their love for each other, their love for this, for their careers and nature and the environment all just resonated off the screen in a way I think only really documentaries can.
It's definitely high on my watch list.
All right, you want to guess? Oh no, top 3. This is tough. This was a tough one, but I have RRR.
Nice.
Wild fucking movie.
Good
man.
enough for me.
It's a fucking wild movie, man. He's doing a whole fucking cheetah at a guy. I literally was watching it by myself, and I said out loud, I'm like, he just threw a whole fucking cheetah at a guy.
And there are just so many moments like that where you're like,
I was waiting because like in the beginning,
awesome.
When we first experience, what was it, Ram, right?
Yeah, during the riot.
I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I thought it was gonna be like a super soldier movie. Like he's their super soldier, then Beam was the other super soldier. No, that's just what they are.
No.
They're just built that way.
Different. Yeah.
They're literally just built different.
Yeah.
I thought there was like maybe some like experiments going on or anything. It's like, no, they're just superheroes.
Yeah. It's an anime in that way.
No, it really is an anime. And like after that, I'm like, I guess he's the bad guy because like he's with the imperialists, but like I want to root for this guy. He's cool as hell.
Oh yeah, that one yeah, right.
Yeah.
You're thinking, oh, this guy's he's being a pig.
Mm-hmm.
He's just beating all these helpless people. But you're so impressed by the action and the way it was shot and the way they were watching him from the back.
So every time you thought it would be over, it just kept going.
No, just coming.
And then we get introduced to Beam, and he's with the animals and the tigers. Yeah, it was just so fucking cool. And obviously the tail, like that on its own is just awesome. But like when you get into the main crux of the story and it's the friendship that these two characters cultivate, it's just super endearing and fun to watch. The dance sequences, the music, all just a lot of life to it. It really created something that I think hits on multiple levels. It's really hard to like kind of like pin down one thing because that aspect of the film is just so much different than the absurd, crazy action sequences, but it all meshes together so well. There's really no complaints there. I think maybe some of the story elements maybe a little too, like with Jenny, that kind of just happened, but it was still fun. It's weird because like it almost didn't take itself seriously, but also super seriously at the same time. I think I saw someone review it that way, and I'm like, yeah, that's like a perfect description.
Yeah. Such a fun movie, dude. Streaming on Netflix, so if anybody who hasn't seen it.
How did you watch it?
I did watch it on Netflix with the Hindi dub.
That was weird because I didn't know what to do.
There's in the native language, it's only streaming on
yeah, that's what I saw.
Z5, it's called.
But the actors, the only reason why I chose the Hindi dub over English, because I was like, well, if I'm going to dub a different language, then I might as well just dub the language I know. But the actors...
Yeah, they did the dub.
They did the dub,
right.
so I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this one instead.
Yeah, it was a little weird, but... I don't know why I didn't watch it on Z5, because it is available. It's a streaming service based in Asia. So, and they've got a lot of good movies from Asia on that streaming service. So not only RRR, but it's also on Netflix. So anybody out there who hasn't seen it.
Some of the coolest shots too.
Oh my!
Like him with the bow and arrow and the fire. Like that's just,
that is burned in my memory forever.
It's just cool.
Or when, you know, he had to rescue him and his legs weren't working, so he's like, hop on my back with the 2 shotguns.
They ratatouille'd it.
Incredible.
Another movie that ratatouille'd it, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
That's your number 2?
Watch all these movies this year, and the fucking Fablemans is number 1, huh?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's not bad, man. A lot of people have the Fablemans up there.
It's just the movie that... Just Spielberg, man. It is close. Like, I could really put RRR or Everything All at Once at 1, too. Yeah, talk about another just very creative, very entertaining, hits on like just many different levels from character perspective, relationships, and then you have some of these crazier fight scenes, very similar to RRR in that respect, where it is an emotionally, heavy story that relies on character relationships, but then you have a fucking fights with, dildos and whatnot, and it's just kind of absurd in that way, but it's just so fun and entertaining. I think when you talk about the multiversal aspect to it, probably one of the better ways it's been portrayed on screen.
Coming out within like a month of Doctor Strange was just really bad timing for Marvel. Because a lot of people complain with Doctor Strange that the multiverse wasn't as creative, and then you get this. Yeah. Where it's, there's a universe where everyone's got hot dogs for fingers.
And I think the mother-daughter relationship is one that's, I think, been explored before, but it was a unique way to do it in this way. Right. I think, even the mother-father relationship, that's one of the standout, I think, screen grabs from this movie is, what does he say? Like, doing laundry and taxes with you would have been all right with me, or something like that.
When they're doing the In the Mood for Love tribute.
So just those relationships between this family unit here, I think the way it's explored and kind of presenting the mundane as something that is so unappealing in the beginning, and then towards the end of the movie, that's all you really need, right? And it's just to get from that point to that point using all the tools of the multiverse and all these crazy batshit fight scenes and different concepts and the hot dog hand fingers. It's just a clever way to kind of cultivate or flesh out a relatively simple theme. But
it is simple, and it just comes together so perfectly there in the end, where all the themes, even if we've seen them before, they're so fully realized by those final sequences, and the editing too. And some of those lines of dialogues, just thinking about it, and I'm getting chills about it. Like you said, the scene when they're doing the homage to In the Mood for Love, but the scene when they're just 2 rocks.
That's all I want.
That was probably one of the hardest hitting scenes of the year. And Michelle Yeoh, who's been an action icon for so many years, this really does feel like a culmination of all the great roles that she's had. And hopefully she does get that award love over the next few months. And same thing with Ke Huy Quan, who hasn't been in the movie since The Goonies. To be in 2 legendary movies, Indiana Jones 2 and The Goonies, and to go so long without an acting role, it breaks your heart. So for him to get a role this good as his comeback role, it's like a storybook. Unfortunately for him, because you think, this guy should have had a better career, but maybe now you're going to see him in other projects. I would love to see him in the new Indiana Jones, but it looks like it's already shot in film. But and Stephanie Hsu, and once again, Jamie Lee Curtis is getting a lot of the supporting actress love, but I think Stephanie Hsu should be right there. And I think these awards need to stop being so afraid of nominating 2 people from the same movie. I understand that there are a lot of good movies out there, but really, I would nominate both of them, because Jamie Lee Curtis is hilarious in her role. She's the perfect antagonist. And even every character in that movie had an arc that comes full circle. But Stephanie Hsu is the heart of the movie. Right. And she has so many, she's got the 2 different personalities, and I thought they were great. With the daughter who's looking for approval from her parents, and there's obviously the themes of generational differences, especially for immigrants. And also she's the badass antagonist, the big bad of the whole thing. And she was so intimidating when she first reveals herself. That scene was so fucking funny, dude. She was just popping them out of existence. So on really every level, it's a great movie. Could have been number 1 for me, but it was number 3.
And yeah, the more I sat with The Fabelmans, I think I just keep liking it more and more. Like
I want to go see it again because it's still playing in theaters.
Like you said, just like the window into one of the best filmmakers' upbringing and his passion for film, that alone is going to get people intrigued. But the family story I found to be, very, very compelling. I think it's obviously it's probably his most personal film he's made, because it is his
without
personal
a doubt.
life. And I think when
somebody said Sammy Fabelman's going to grow up to make a movie called The Spielbergs.
But when you're such a good director and you have that much personal investment into a story, I think that's where you're really able to shine. And kind of, I think that translates throughout the film and the relationships throughout. Like I said, underrated, one of the funnier movies of the year. Everything with him and his girlfriend in that new school, I think, was just...
Oh, yeah, that was so funny, dude.
Absolutely hilarious.
Them in the bedroom.
Yes.
Kept seeing Jesus above him.
Or him when he finds out her father has... I forget the name of the camera.
Okay.
You don't remember when they're
at the dinner table?
Yeah. It's like, oh, yeah, my dad has that type of camera. He's like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Just sort of lose interest. I think it's just something that I think... Like I said, I think I said this earlier in a different podcast. Like, I think it works without the Spielberg aspect of it being a driven young individual with pretty much any hobby. I think it's interchangeable in that regard. Oh, I think it adds because it is Spielberg, but in terms of that, I think it really doesn't rely on the fact that it is about Spielberg. And the performances, Michelle Williams, I think. Some people were complaining about Paul Dano, Michelle Williams potentially being miscast in these roles.
I couldn't disagree more with that.
I think they were perfect.
I thought Paul Dano was getting underrated for his performance.
Yeah.
Somebody described him as a man who knows what's going on but doesn't want to express it because it will ruin his family. And that's one of the big things about the movie, is that sort of elephant in the room that everyone can sort of see and notice, and Sammy catches it on film. So I thought the way that he was trying to hold it all together was very effective. And Michelle Williams, one of my favorite performances of the year. And the part of the movie was that they didn't have chemistry.
Yeah.
That maybe they're not the right people for each other. Oh my God, does that ever happen in real life?
Never once. Well, even then, like, I think as Sammy matures, the film matures, I think it starts out pretty...
That's a good point.
Lighthearted and has this campiness to it. And then as he comes of age, I think the film kind of comes of age as well in a lot of ways, thematically, tonally, and structurally. So I think that kind of mirroring each other was very well done. And yeah, like the third wall breaks, the little nods to the audience. I think it's hard. It's something that could take people out of it, but I think it was just masterfully done.
Well, I think that counters the criticisms of it being self-indulgent, because he's having fun with it.
Yeah.
It's very cheeky at times. Even the last shot of the movie when he adjusts the camera because of the advice that he just got. That was a nice little wink and a nod, and he's having fun with it. And I think with Spielberg, he's talked about his childhood, so a lot of these things were like, oh, I remember when he's talked about that. The Greatest Show on Earth. He's talked about that a million times. So that's the movie that really just made him obsessed with the art of film. So
I think it's more self-indulgent.
Very effective.
Yeah, self-indulgence would be like, I don't know. There's no sense of superiority.
I don't think he's ever expressed that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I feel like
he's a film nerd.
In order for self-indulgence to be a complaint for me in something like this, I would almost have to feel like the director's doing something that he doesn't want the audience to be on it too. Like, he's almost... Like, here, it's just like everyone come and just have a good time at the old cinema.
It wasn't like I've always been a genius.
Yeah.
It takes a special talent to be able to make movies.
Well, that's why I said
here's how to do it, idiots.
You could plug in any hobby or passion, and that's where I think it becomes not it's relatable.
Well, he could, if you sat down with Spielberg and told him your life dreams, he could make an incredible movie out of it. Because he's Steven Spielberg, right? So I've always wanted to grow up and be a podcaster.
If anyone could be and wanted to be and gets a pass, I think it's...
it's Stevie S. No, I think that's a solid choice for number one. And there it is. There's your top 5 movies of the year.
Wow, set in stone. Can't change it now.
Nope. If you do, you'll be arrested by Mr. Hollywood. It's Mr. Hollywood's Tobey Maguire in Babylon.
Really?
Wild fucking sequence.
I hear the movie's kind of insane, right?
No, some of it is, the first scene is quite striking.
Yeah, I heard I saw one person describe a scene, and it was like blood, cocaine, and cum, and that's what happens?
Shit as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Tobey Maguire was a wild boy in that movie. All right, my top 5.
It's weird that, Damien Chazelle, I guess he's not mainstream. It's always weird. So you would think Brad Pitt, all these stars.
Well, First Man didn't do so well. La La Land was a huge hit, and Whiplash, a lot of people know of it. I think Damien Chazelle, his name isn't there yet. For film Twitter, it is.
Yeah.
He's still a young director, but I commend him for taking this check, as they like to call it in Hollywood, the blank check, going big, going bold, and he'll never get a blank check again.
Nope.
But I think it's a movie he should be proud of. All right, going to my top 5. Number 5 was The Northman, the meanest, ugliest, brutalist movie of the year, but so much fun from beginning to end. Like you said, the first scene gets it rolling, and it just doesn't let up. It just keeps getting better and better and better and more vicious. And by the time you're at the volcano, you're like, I've ascended to another level of existence. And this is another guy, Robert Eggers, who's just absolutely 3 for 3. And like you said, it's big, it's explosive, but there are quieter moments that are reminiscent of some of his previous movies, like The Witch.
I'm just remembering the William Dafoe scene right now.
Oh, yeah, dude. He's in the movie for like 3 minutes, and he's probably the best performance of the movie. Him and Ethan Hawke, they were getting this boy ready for life.
Yeah.
Life as a Viking. And like you said, it's the closest I've come to wanting to watch Vikings, but I probably won't. But he was, Alexander Skarsgård, ripped out of his mind. Such a physical performance, obviously. But he was so committed. He was so ruthless. And then he also showed his more vulnerable side. And it goes to show that, yeah, maybe this hyper-masculinity is not a good thing. Hopefully in the next few hundred years they get away from that. So
I'm starting to remember things that I kind of didn't forget, but Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, Nicole Kidman, right?
What the fuck? That
was
weird.
Fucked up too.
Yeah.
The whole movie was just super fucked up, man. But once again, so beautiful. Robert Eggers, man. I'm going to watch whatever this guy does. He could take such a, like I said, a brutal and mean-spirited premise and just dress it in so many pretty visuals with the settings and what he can do with, I guess this budget was bigger than his previous movies. But once again, it's not a huge, massive budget, and it looks like it's the biggest movie of the year. You can compare it to, you can't compare it to Avatar, but some of the other big blockbusters get buckets of money, and it's like, why does The Northman look better? It was the same thing with The Green Knight last year. Yeah. So The Green Knight was like a $10 million budget. It's like, why does this look better than every Marvel movie? I hate to punch on Marvel, but I loved Black Panther too. That was an honorable mention. Number 4, Decision to Leave.
I haven't seen this yet.
This was very good. Tang Wei, who was the lead actress in this movie, one of my favorite femme fatales of recent memory. Impossible to read, so mysterious, so alluring, but you can't take your eyes off of her. And all the actors in this movie were really incredible. And before the movie played, Park Chan-wook gave a little message. The directors have been doing that. Thank you for coming to theaters. Please save this business. And he said he wanted to craft a movie that was half murder mystery, half romantic comedy. So you're so invested in the murder mystery. It was so well written. And the romance really works. It's funny, it's moving at times, and you really grow to care about these characters. And
is this
it could have been number 1 for Best Picture.
No, international.
Oh, probably, yeah, definitely will be. I would love for it to get a Best Picture nom as well, because I don't think Park Chan-wook has ever. I'm pretty sure some of his movies have been nominated for Best International, but not for Best Picture. And out of, after Bong Joon-ho, he's probably the biggest name out of South Korea. So he definitely deserves that recognition. And once again, the list is fluid. So down the line, this could be recognized as his best movie. Number 3, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Everything you said about it was pretty spot on. Easily could have been my number 1 movie of the year. I think the big debate these days is what's the difference between TV and movies. I think this is a great example to point to, where, like I said, you have characters who have full arcs beginning to end. You feel like you've been on a 10 to 15 hour journey in just 2 hours because of how well this story is told and how many emotional beats they hit and how well developed their themes are and how funny it can be and how emotional it is. It makes you laugh, it makes you cry, it makes you think. it passes the Jimmy V test, right? It's a fulfilling experience from start to finish. And like I said, Michelle Yeoh deserves all the love that she is getting, and I hope she does take home that Oscar Gold in March, whenever the awards are going to be. And arguably the best edited movie maybe ever. I mean, you watch this, apparently they did it at home on like an Adobe program with like 5 other people on a laptop. It's incredible how fluid it is, and that's not easy to do when you're seeing all these. It's like it really felt like an infinite amount of universes that they were touching upon when some of those sequences would happen. So just the visual effects, the fact that it wasn't wasn't shortlisted for best visual effects that's a disgrace. But like I said, very easily could have been the #1 movie of the year, and for a long time it was for me. But you said so many good things about it, so I'll just move on to number 2, which you also said good things about this movie, but it was Triple R.
Triple R, how do you say it?
I just been calling it Triple R. I know they do mean something, but I always forget what it means. Revolt, rebellion, Reuben.
It seems like, I mean, obviously I haven't seen many Bollywood movies, but it just seems like the filmmakers are granted to be more creative. And I'm not saying that American filmmakers don't have the level of creativity to make something like RRR. I just don't feel like anyone would ever support them in their vision to do something and go this far with it. And I think that's why this movie kind of is just so great and people love it. It's because it is something that we're just not used to seeing in our domestic films. Just this level of creativity, but also the freedom just to do what you want and just have all the style and substance.
Well, I think a lot of people in Western audiences will have the same reaction you did to the beginning. Why are they super people? And I think that they can't suspend their disbelief in that it's more acceptable in Bollywood and even in
or a dance number in
China.
The middle of a movie.
Right, yeah. People are going to watch this and think, what the fuck is this? This is not how a movie is supposed to be told, sort of thing. But a lot of people I recommended RRR to thought the dance sequence was the best part of the movie.
Oh, it was awesome.
So I think that this movie does have a chance of, sort of like what Parasite did, and many international films have done before it, to open people up and expose them to Bollywood movies, because I'm so lacking when it comes to Indian cinema. Mm-hmm. I've seen like the Satyajit Ray movies, which I think he was nominated for a few Oscars, but that's like 50, 60 years ago. I don't know any other Indian director besides S.S. Rajamouli. And I hear his other movies are just as insane, so I want to watch them.
Well, that's another thing, too, I feel like can happen. It's like, well, now you see RRR, and like maybe assuming that, like all Indian movies are kind of this kind of high, like big spectacles, where I'm sure it's just like our films.
Oh, yeah,
just nice, like, diverse of genres and things like that. But
like I was talking to my brother-in-law the other day, and he was like, I feel like every movie that comes out of Hong Kong is a martial arts movie. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah, because those are usually the
ones that
biggest.
Get to us.
Right.
Yeah.
There are you can find plenty of slow and boring movies that I like. It's funny because he doesn't like movies like that anyway. But RRR, I mean, essentially it is the best superhero movie of the 21st century. And that's why you have to suspend your disbelief and just let that chaos consume you. And this movie it kept evolving. I was watching it in disbelief of how insane it just kept becoming, one sequence after the other. Like your first introductions, when he's just beating up this entire angry mob, it's like, how can you top this? And then they introduce the other guy, and he's hunting a fucking tiger, and he just bodies it with his bare-chested, pure elbow grease.
Dude, when they first meet, and they had like the signals
unspoken
together,
connection.
I'm like, so they were like in a special forces camp together. Like they know each other. Like they're friends. Nope.
That's just how they become best friends.
It's never explained. Never. And she's like, okay.
No, you have to, like I said, you have to suspend your disbelief and just take it for what it is. It is an anime. It is a superhero movie. And I think it's sort of like these heightened metaphors and mythologies that you hear about revolutionaries, about people who fought back oppression. And their stories are a bit exaggerated, and that's done to inspire people. And this story is based on two real-life revolutionaries. They obviously weren't doing this, but those are the stories that you pass on through generation to generation of, with their bare hands, they could wrestle a tiger, and they can fight back 100 men. And that's what inspires people a lot of times to fight back against oppression. So even though it was ridiculous and was funny, and the action is just spellbinding.
Well, they do play with that too, in a way, because like one of the main things that I don't want to spoil it, but one of the characters takes away is that the biggest weapon isn't guns and ammos, it's how people can inspire other people. In that way, it kind of addresses the ridiculousness of some of these actions, but like you said, how those stories and tales are able to be inspirational to people.
Right, yeah. And by the end of it, I was very inspired. So,
no, the dude who plays Rom is he's a house, man.
Yeah. And the perfect pairing, right? He's a bit more of a pretty boy. He's got that sort of star quality, and then his buddy is just lovable. He's like a bear, you just want to hug him. And their friendship was so wholesome, so cute. Just an absolute delight. For a long time, this was number one on my list. But the number one movie I had for the year was a movie that I just couldn't get out of my head. I just kept thinking back to it, and just seeing what people were picking up on social media about it.
Don't Worry, Darling.
Don't Worry, Darling. I mean, Harry Styles, I was really hard on him for a long time, but no, just kidding. Nope was number one for me. And I think this will go down as one of those endlessly rewatchable masterpieces. I think it is his best movie. And like I said, I just haven't been able to stop thinking about it. I don't think a movie has ever... That's not true. There's so many ideas that he's trying to tackle, and they all go back to the central premise of the movie. We want to capture this monster on camera. And it all works towards that final moment which to me, it's just talking about it gives me chills. That's why I think it is a masterpiece, and it is flawless because of how well it comes together. And like I said, there's so many layers, there's so many different ways that you can look at this movie. And I think a lot of times film analysis goes a bit further than what was intended.
Right.
But I think that's a good thing, because there is a lot of maybe subconsciously he was doing this. There's so many different interpretations that I've seen that where you can take any of them and go, yeah, that's what the movie is. And to me, that's the mark of a masterpiece.
Yeah, I think that's a struggle to, like when we talked about it, I remember there were a lot of ideas thrown out there, right? Very layered, but on the surface layer, it's still a very enjoyable film.
Yes.
You don't have to delve yourself into any of these particular themes and to enjoy this movie. And I think that's what's pretty great about it. And if you want to dig deeper, something is always there. And it's also about what the viewer wants to take from it, or what it wants to apply what the movie's doing in their head as what. It's like the viewer can see one thing and kind of attach their own theme to it. It's never outwardly saying, maybe for the two, like maybe the bigger ones, but all the things underneath the surface layer, those you can kind of really pick and choose and apply it to anything you kind of want to.
Right.
In that regard.
It's not Lynchian.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure Peele is a fan of David Lynch, but it's the same way I feel about a lot of Lynch's best movies, where there are a lot of interpretations that you can apply for yourself. Then anybody can watch this and take something away from it. And I think that is definitely part of the fun of watching it, where you can watch it that way. And that's why I said it was endlessly rewatchable, because there's so much that you can pick up, whether it was intended or whether if it's your own interpretation. Or you can just watch it as a fun summer blockbuster with characters. You have the stone cold brother, you got the eccentric sister, more colorful in personality, you got the comic relief dude who works at Best Buy, and then you've got the run silent, run deep cinematographer. They're all great, the way they come together as a team. And the Jean Jacket being the star of the movie, that third act to me was just so well put together. It does feel like this roller coaster ride that you're on.
Well, even some of the not smaller, but like with Stephen Yeun's character, just like something that...
Oh my God, the fucking monkey?
Just the look on his face after having that flashback, and it cuts to him just staring, and you don't know what this guy's like, what he's thinking. What does he look back in fear? Does he look back in fondness because he was able to exploit it. Like just little things like that. I feel like,
those are the things that make you think.
Mm-hmm.
And that sequence with the monkey was probably the scariest scene of the movie.
Like how he looks back on it almost like, R.I.P. to everybody else, but like I'm built different.
Yeah, he's got this hubris about him that because I survived that, I can control. He's trying to be the showman. And once again, the theme of exploiting animals, that's something that, has become a hot topic, especially now, because when it's done today, it's like, was that even necessary? Is there a better way to, treat your animals or maybe you can't even use animals anymore if that's going to be the consequences of it. So that was an interesting idea. And also, the idea of it's the Bible verse that plays before the movie begins. I don't know it by heart, but all about capturing spectacle. It's like a car crash. Everybody runs outside and they want to see it. They want to capture it on their phone, upload it. That's the central idea of this movie. And like I said, there are several ideas, but all of them come together to serve that one main one. But yeah, Nope is the number one movie of the year for me. One of my favorite movies of all time. And Jordan Peele, man. Truly, this run that he's on to start a career, it's pretty special. He's definitely one of the premier horror masters we have today. And just in general, one of the best filmmakers. It's going to be so fun because it's been Peele, Eggers, and Ari Aster just going at it for the last 6 or so years.
Well, I think they're all good at unique things, so it's not like you're getting the same.
No, right. The 3 horror masters, and they've got these distinct styles, so it's pretty awesome. It's a fun time for horror, definitely.
I feel like we're getting, for someone, like, I don't even know if it's my least favorite genre now. It used to be. More slasher type stuff, but I think there's been an uptick. And Scary Movie kind of pointed it out, like the quote-unquote like elevated horror type.
Scream, you mean?
Not Scary, Scream. We need another Scary Movie.
Yeah, that would be fun. Especially now with all the new golden age of horror.
Elevated horror.
Yeah, so those are our top 20 movies of the year. Like I said at the top of the video, comment down below. What were some of your favorites? And interact with us on social media. Tell us your favorite movies of the year.
I feel like this year more than others. It's very much. I feel like usually you get a sense of like a standardized top 10, give or take a few. But I mean, some movies that we didn't mention that people love, like Pearl.
Right. Yeah, Pearl was. I liked Pearl. It just didn't. There were a lot of movies I liked that didn't crack my top 20.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll see.
I think Mia Goth has become sort of the horror queen after this year because the monologue that she gives in that movie, it's like a 7-minute monologue. Why do you, like you saw Pearl?
I saw the monologue.
Okay. Fair enough. If you saw the monologue, you basically saw the movie. No, I liked it more than most because it was a bit divisive. I think more people enjoyed X.
Well,
which is another movie a lot of people had on their list.
It's funny. Just I think for both of us, like a nice diverse of genres and top 20, but it always just ends with like the most basic for me. Anyway, just Steven Spielberg. 2 documentaries in there.
Yeah,
I was in my bag this year. I had a fucking
pat yourself on the back.
Steven Spielberg, the Fableman. Generic.
I think you're giving yourself too much credit.
I know.
You wouldn't do that though.
2 documentaries, man. How many did you have? 0. How many did you have? What did you see? Why is the Guardians movie your least favorite?
I just didn't give it a rating.
Oh, okay.
I mean, a lot of the big blockbusters of the year ended up being some of my least favorite. But see, like a lot of the smaller movies of the year, like Men, didn't like it. The Eternal Daughter with Tilda Swinton, she was good in it. Bottom of my list.
Oh, I forgot about Men. Yeah, that
Kimmy.
was... Yeah, The Eternal Daughter twice, so 94 movies. I see what you're trying to do. You sick bastard.
You can't add a movie to your list twice.
80 and 82. And you have The Lost City twice.
I think you maybe need to refresh that because 80 for me is Thor Ragnarok on my list that I'm looking at. Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, most critically acclaimed movie of the year. It's at 67 for me.
Contrarian. Oh yeah, I fixed it.
You didn't see Marcel, huh?
No, I didn't.
You were in your bag. I was in my shell.
Damn.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching, for listening this year. It was a fun year. We got to do some House of the Dragon stuff. What did we do at the beginning of the year? Weren't there some other things we did?
Probably like Disney or something.
Disney stuff, right? Yeah. We did Moon Knight.
Gave up on Moon Knight.
Didn't finish Moon Knight, no. Moon Knight was on this list. It was close to the bottom.
It's not a movie.
That's on Letterboxd. Anything I watched on Letterboxd, I just put on the list.
I'm going to do Letterboxd this year.
No, you're not.
I am.
You know what? Actually, I'm glad that you don't do Letterboxd.
Why not?
Just keep it my thing.
No, I'm doing it.
No, don't do it.
It was, no.
Delete the app.
It was a pain in the ass
No,
to do
it's
my
fine.
top 20 because like I had to remember what I saw. I forgot I saw Men until you just brought it up. It wouldn't have made my top 20, but that's a movie that I forgot happened.
I'm not really sure what that movie was about, but I think it had to do something with men.
Remember when they just kept like giving birth, and that was weird.
Most insane scene of the year goes to Triangle of Sadness. Did you see that?
No. I want it though.
The storm on the boat, that's all I'll say. Anybody who's seen it knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Well, you're wrong, because Beam threw an actual fucking cheetah at a guy.
You know what? That's fair. Yeah, no, that's probably the best scene of the year. All right, guys, we will be back next year.
It wasn't even CGI. None of that movie was. That's the crazy
I think
thing.
the white people were CGI, actually.
Yeah. They avatared him.
Oh, my God.
Wow, that was probably our best review yet. Hey guys, Aaron the Nerd Soup Monkey here with a brief shameless plug before we end the video. Do you ever feel like you don't have an adequate amount of nerd soup in your life? Like you're going to bed hungry and yearning for the nonsensical yet entertaining nutrients our podcasts provide? Well, we've come up with the perfect solution. The Nerd Soup Fan Question Podcasts, exclusively available to our Patreon supporters. You can sign up now by visiting patreon.com/nerdsoup, and for the price of only $1 per month, you'll receive exclusive access to our weekly podcast where we answer your questions that don't make it to the main show. And while you're there, you can check out the other rewards we offer to our patrons, like stickers, mugs, t-shirts, behind-the-scenes footage, and appearing in the credits at the end of our videos. And that's exactly what we're going to do right now. Roll the names of the nerds who make Nerd Soup possible. The reason why the crypto crash didn't send our lives spiraling down a black hole of no return. Alright, I'll stop talking so you can listen to this jazzy-ass music while checking if Beau spelt your name wrong in the credits.